Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your friend Bats. My name is Jared, and today we are going to be looking at Superman for All Seasons by Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale and Bjarne Hansen, who's the colorist. Um, I know this is a classic. I don't need to tell anyone how great this book is. Everyone already knows. Um, However, what I haven't read this since I was about 17. And so coming back to this now at 39, almost 40, this was an absolute delight. Um, I remember a lot of the imagery and a lot of some of the panels and stuff like that, but I didn't really remember the story. It'd been over 20 years at this point for me. And uh, the first time, and what was also great about this book for me is while I was reading it uh, recently, it actually took me back to when I read it the first time, and it actually put a warmth in my heart, if you will. Very cheesy, but it is a Superman book, and the reason I say that is because it gave me nostalgia for when I read it the first time, and the first time I had read this was in one sitting in a poorly lit room uh, on an afternoon at my grandmother's house. And she's no longer with us. But while I was reading that, it was reading at this time, it was reminding me of her and classic America and old fashionedness and just who she was as a person. And my grandmother, to me, she's sanctified. She's an angel. She's the sweetest lady I've ever met in my life. And Superman is kind of that in a lot of ways. And so, um, and she was a very old. She was born in 1910. She's a very old fashioned lady, and so this this comic book itself is a very old fashioned uh, vibe to it, and so even though I'm reading a Superman story, it was reminding me of sitting at my grandma's house and uh, you know uh, where my grandmother lived. She lived in the town that I grew up in, and sometime after she had passed away, I had moved away from that town. And so there is these like similarities in life of like being with your elders and then kind of going out on your own vibe in this. And so that's it. Just had that really like nostalgia, like that good nostalgia where you're like, you're never gonna get it back, but when you remember it, it really just warms you up. And so that's how that felt when I was reading this. Uh, what I do love about this is, Tim Sale is just fantastic in anything he ever does. Whether it's Long Halloween or it's this one with this colorist, man, he knows how to really bring Tim Sale to the top. If we compare this to Long Halloween is just straight solid flats with solid blacks, where this one has a lot of like watercolor to it, and the watercoloring is just perfect for the Superman book. Has a lot of texture, a lot of tone, a lot of life, a lot of lived in life in this work. Especially like rooms that you could just see that like this is a fully functioning business of the corner store that also operates as a restaurant. And Jeph Loeb, Superman doesn't have to punch anyone. There's no big monster he has to fight, no space aliens. It's really just a story about people's view of Superman, and each, if you haven't read it, for all seasons, it goes through all the seasons. So it's a 4-issue story. It starts off in spring, and he's in Smallville, which then leads to the next one in summer, where he's in Metropolis being Superman, and goes into fall, into winter, and there's no big real threat other than like Lex is Lex, and it's just each chapter is narrated by a different person in Clark's life. So the first issue is narrated by Pa Kent. The second one, I believe, was Lois or Lex, one of the two. So like the two stories between the bookends of the story. So it goes Pa, two Metropolis characters, Lex and Lois, and then the fourth one and final chapter is narrated by Lana Lang, his childhood friend and high school sweetheart. And so you kind of have someone who raised him, people who just discovered who he is as a person, and then someone who's known them their whole life and knows him on a different level outside of a parental thing. And it's just a great book. If you haven't read it, go out and buy it. It's beautiful art. Like some of these splash pages, just beautiful to look at. If you're looking, it's going to be the summer of Superman. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Superman available. And if you don't know what to read Superman, you want to get someone some Superman, they like the movie that they had seen this summer, give them this. Definitely a good series. So thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.